We'll call this meeting of the Silver City Town Council to order, and if you'll rise while the Girl Scouts present the colors, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Color guard, advance. Color guard, halt. Color guard, present the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color guard, post the colors. Color guard, honor your colors. Color guard, retreat. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you, girls. You did a wonderful job. The first item on the agenda is proclamations for Girl Scout Week, March 9th through the 15th, 2014. And if I can have the girls meet me at the podium. Come on up, we don't bite.
The proclamation, whereas March 12, 2014 marks the 102nd anniversary of Girl Scouts of the United States of America, which began in 1912 when Savannah, Georgia native Juliet Daisy Gordon Lowe gathered 18 girls to provide them the opportunity to develop physically, mentally, and spiritually. And whereas for 102 years, Girl Scouting has helped build millions of girls and women of courage, confidence, and character who act to make the world a better place. And whereas the award-winning Girl Scout Leadership Program helps girls discover themselves and their values, connect with others, and take action to make the world a better place. And whereas the Girl Scout Gold Award, the highest honor in Girl Scouting, requires girls to make a measurable and sustainable difference in their community, assess a need and design a solution, find the resources and support to make it happen, complete the project, and also inspire others to sustain it. And whereas core programs around science, technology, engineering, and math, environmental stewardship, healthy living, financial literacy, and global citizenship help girls develop a solid foundation in leadership. And whereas through the dedication, time, and talent of volunteers of different backgrounds, abilities, and areas of expertise, the Girl Scout program is brought to over 200 girls in grades K through 12 across Grant County, New Mexico. And whereas today more than 50 million American women are Girl Scouts alumni, 3.3 million girls and adult volunteers are active members, and Girl Scouts is the largest member of the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, a global movement comprised of more than 10 million girls in 145 countries worldwide. Now therefore, I, James R. Marshall, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Silver City, Grant County, New Mexico, do hereby applaud the commitment of Girl Scouts of the United States of America for their 102 years of leadership and expertise as the voice for and of girls, and proudly proclaim the week of March 9th through the 15th, 2014 as Girl Scout Week. And I just want to remind everybody that there are 2 Girl Scouts actually sitting on our town council right now. You can figure out the rest.
Just looking at this thing. Okay, let's see.
Hand, good actor.
Okay, look at me. Christina, look at me.
Oh, come on. I was up first.
Sorry.
Why don't you just all swivel?
One more thing.
We would like to honor you with your honorary Girl Scout as a prominent Take your collar. So if you could bend down.
She's very small.
Can you spin your pin upside down? And you can't turn it around until you do it with me. So now that you're done as mayor, you're going to really have to look for Just don't touch it, it might help you, I don't have a glass.
Thank you very much.
Can I send it?
And I have one more proclamation for the Year of the Volunteer. All right, she didn't bring me cookies, so. It's a proclamation, whereas the year 2014 marks the 10th anniversary of the Volunteer Center, and as volunteerism plays a vital role in strengthening society and creates a sense of cohesion and unity that reinforces the foundations of community. And whereas volunteerism is an investment in the future of Silver City and is vital to our future and is increasingly recognized as a community's greatest resource. And Silver City enables and encourages residents of all ages to serve the community and assist organizations, agencies, and other groups to work effectively with volunteers. And whereas volunteers can connect with the local humanitarian, environmental, and community service opportunities through dozens of community service organizations and compassionate outreaches. Excuse me. Whereas volunteers work in our community generously utilize their own time, energy, and talents to make a difference in the lives of individuals and groups of children, adults, and the elderly in the community for the betterment of the community. And whereas volunteers often bring years of professional experience to their volunteer positions, offering a wide range of skills and abilities in service to meet those demands, and provide the passion and power to fight the pervasive feeling of social disconnection experienced by millions of Americans and within our community. And whereas the economic crisis has placed greater demands on nonprofit organizations nationwide, and the need for volunteers has increased to meet those demands, and the effect of volunteerism is a blessing, not only unto the community and the people the volunteer serves, but a blessing unto the volunteers themselves through personal growth, improved health, positive influence, and friendship through the selfless act of service. Now therefore, I, James Marshall, Mayor of the Town of Silver City, Grant County, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim 2014 as the Year of the Volunteer in honor of the Volunteer Center's 10th anniversary and to acknowledge the outstanding contributions, tremendous efforts, and commitments made by hundreds of volunteers throughout Silver City who are the heart and soul of our caring community. You want to say it?
The next item on the agenda is public input, and we have kind of 3 people. Somebody thought they would play with me. The first person up is Polly Cook, and I remind you, you only have 5 minutes. And I will be counting.
5 minutes. I want to thank everybody, even though I know it's, there's council comments and I can say what I need to say then, but I want to thank everybody in this town that has supported me and brought to my attention things that have been going on in town. I followed through on everything. I tried to answer you as best to my knowledge as possible. And Alex, he heard a lot of me. And my council, these people are wonderful. And now that I've put in 2 years here, I understand the commitment that they have made to this town because of the love of our town. And that is why I'm up here, because I love my town. I also love my business, and I have to go there now. It needs me. But our town is a wonderful place, and our weather is wonderful. The people that represent us really are good people, and they do the best for the town. And all the department heads are wonderful. All the town employees have never been anything but extremely polite and nice to me, and genuinely. And I thank you all so much for this. And the only reason I will be up here next meeting is if maybe martial law is declared. Martial law, I like that. So thank you everybody. And so the people that haven't gotten out and voted yet, get out there and vote. It's your right, it's your privilege, and use it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's my 5 minutes.
Nope, you didn't use it all. The next up on the list is Lucy Whitmarsh, reference the public safety tax.
Good evening, council and members of the community. I'm here representing Silver City Main Street. I'm the president of the board, and our board has passed a resolution in support of renewal of the Silver City public safety tax. Whereas Silver City Main Street has collaborated with the Silver City Arts and Culture District to proactively work with the police department through the Silver City Safety and Security Task Force. Whereas significant progress has been made in a variety of positive ways in the Main Street District regarding public safety and security through these collaborations. Whereas increased patrols and their presence in the Main Street and the Arts and Culture District have been welcome and beneficial to merchants, building owners, visitors, and citizens. Whereas we wish to make sure these positive public safety steps continue through dialogue, police visibility, presence, and planning. Whereas we recognize adequate fire personnel and equipment are needed to protect these historic structures in our historic district. Whereas without the passage of the public safety tax, all of this good work and goodwill could literally be cut and then public safety services reduced. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Corporation for Downtown Development, also known as Silver City Main Street, that the Corporation for Downtown Development fully supports the Town of Silver City's public safety tax that's on the March 4th, 2014 ballot, and that the Board President is hereby requested to forward this resolution of support to the Town Council at their Town Council meeting on February 20th, 2014, passed and approved and adopted this 19th day of February 2014 by the Corporation for Downtown Development. And I thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank all of our public safety people.
Next up is Kathy Anderson, Silver City Neighborhood Alliance PST Wildfire.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable Mayor, Councilors, Mr. Brown. The Silver City Neighborhood Alliance supports the renewal of the 2004 public safety tax and is particularly encouraged by Resolution 2014.09 to show intent to use appropriate and available town resources to improve prevention and response to wildland fire risk that's on tonight's agenda. We are encouraged that nearly 3 weeks before the March 7 to 8 Symposium on Preparedness, we have over 50 Silver City and surrounding area residents signed up, not in counting our own board members or any other participants. I'll just add that there is one person who's registered from this entire semicircle, and yes, she's nodding so she knows who she is. The 35 speakers on wildfire risk, crime prevention, and building sustainable food supplies through community gardens and seed libraries will offer insight into how a community can collaborate to build broad-based resiliency. Outcomes from fire science studies, such as the latest from the National Institute of Standards and Technology and the U.S. Forest Service on one particular wildfire in California called the Witch Fire, with lead author Alexander Maragides, that identified critically successful property treatments must become common knowledge. Toward that end, as a beginning, I'll list some of them: to provide space for fire suppression equipment around your property, along with low flammability species of vegetation and wide areas surrounding the home that are irrigated, to build fire breaks in the form of driveways, gravel walkways, and such, to prune trees and shrubs 10 feet up from the ground because these catch embers, to regularly remove leaf clutter, dead or overhanging branches, again, these catch embers, to use fire-resistant construction materials and retrofit current buildings, to conduct periodic property inspections so that sufficient distance from the home is cleared, and distance is dependent on topography, prevailing wind, and all sorts of other variables. Wildfire is really physics. And to move away wood piles, attached flammable decks, and attached flammable fences, because these catch embers. Thank you so much, Mayor, for all your time in serving us.
Thank you, Kathy. Next up on the agenda is council comments. Councilor Bettison, would you like to start?
Thank you, Mayor.
First, I'd like to acknowledge the folks that texted and called me over the weekend regarding a number of concerns regarding the issuance of burn permits by the town of Silver City Fire Department. I talked with the fire chief over the weekend, and then I also spoke with Mr. Brown, the town manager, on Tuesday after the holiday, and Assistant Chief Tim Heidrich is going to talk about that under reports about the resolution for, hopefully, that will calm people's nerves about that. There was a lot of concern brought up, mainly due to the fact that there were winds, some excessive burning in the neighborhood that I serve, the district I serve, as well as I think the proximity of the anniversary of the Quail Ridge Fire, which is, I think, the same date as the March 7th, March 8th event that's going to occur that the Kathy Anderson just mentioned. So I would encourage any of you that are interested about attending the conference to sign up through the Silver City Neighborhood Alliance website. You can sign up to attend that. It's free to go to the symposium to learn about everything that you can do, not only for your own personal home, but also your businesses and things like that. I think it'll be effective for many folks to know what's going on and how they can hopefully stave off anything that could come upon with what's going on with our current situation across the state. I also want to say, and I know that you've heard me state this before, but I do support the renewal of and permanent renewal, of course, of the public safety tax, which is on the ballot, and I hope that folks will go out and vote, whatever their mind is to do it, but for 12.5 cents for every $100, that is an effective use of your money. That money only goes for those items that are directly related to public safety. It's not stockpiled, it's used specifically for those items, through police officers, salaries and benefits, for equipment, including new vehicles, for bunker gear, as the fire chief had mentioned in his presentation, that needs to be renewed, that each fire personnel needs to have in order to go into a fire. We don't want to send our folks into harm's way when they're trying to ensure that your property and your welfare is, that they're taking care of that. And also for one fire personnel and their salary and benefits. So I hope that folks will go out and vote, whatever your particular nay or yay, but I hope that it is supported, because those monies are vital to us to use as a match for grants and other things. So, and with that, I just want to reiterate once again how wonderful it has been to be on a council for the first time that we know about, that there's been 2 women serving as counselors, and it's been a pleasure to sit next to Councilor Cook. I've enjoyed having her in the council and the perspectives she brings, and I'm going to miss her, but at the same time I look forward to a council that will be composed of 3 women and 2 men. So I think that soon-to-be Mayor Moronis may be a little bit concerned by that, but I think he might be used to the number of women in his own life, so I think he'll be able to handle that. But it's been certainly a pleasure to sit next to you, Counselor. Thank you. So, and I've enjoyed our discussions that we have before and after meetings. And Mayor, what can I say? You have to be good now, because remember that Girl Scout, you know, you're an honorary Girl Scout. You can't turn around unless you do a good deed, and you can't be pulling my pigtails tonight. You know, so. But I do want to say that it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with Mayor Marshall the past 5 years that I've been on this council, and I've learned quite a bit from him about how to be of service to my community in this format and through the council, and I just can't say enough about what he's done, and the fact that together, all the council members that I've served with in this composition with him as mayor, as a leader, I think we've done incredibly effective work for this town, and I hope that all of you think that as well. And I look forward to what comes next, but at the same time, I'm sad for the fact that he'll no longer be on the council. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Cook?
Now's
Now's the appropriate time.
Thank you again, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. Let me thank two people that are behind the scenes always around here, Yolanda and Ann. You two women are wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilor Ray?
First of all, I'm going to be terrified. And Mike will help me here. But on the brighter side of things, I want to emphasize that we're going to do a bike run for the Blues Festival. And Faye has been asking me to do it, and there are some groups that are going to help me. And one is going to be Armaduras, which is Chief Reynolds, and the other one is going to be the Leatherheads, which is the fire department. So we will be doing some functions this year, and hopefully we'll be doing something downtown also. And Mayor, what can I say? No. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Morales?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Having two daughters, I would like to say that I'm used to dealing with and handling and working with women, but it will be new because with my daughters, I at least get to act in a dictatorship form of government, so it is going to be a little different. But I would like to say that it's been an absolute pleasure working with Councilor Cook. She's been a great voice for her constituents and asked many hard, important questions in debate and has just done a wonderful job for this town, and I appreciate working with you. I could just talk forever about working with Mayor Marshall, but I'll just simplify it as, it's been a great honor working with Mayor Marshall, and if I can conduct and operate that position half as well, I'll consider it a success. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got some comments, but I think I'm gonna hold them till the end of the agenda. There's actually some business that needs to be taken care of, and there's probably some people here that would rather take care of their business than listen to a summation of my last 8 years. So, with due respect for that, I think I will hold my comments till we get down to number 11 on the agenda. And it is nice to see a full crowd out there. So, the next thing on the agenda, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Hearing none, the agenda is approved. And next item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of the Silver City Town Council of February 11th, 2014.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Town Council of Silver City for February 11th, 2014, as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? There's a motion and a second and no discussion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Silver City Town Council from February 11th, 2014. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is under reports and staff reports. Mr. Brown? Chief? All right, they're all here, so. Any of the department heads like to give a report? Oh, yeah, leave it to Tim.
Gotta be one. The only thing we really have to report is the fire department had been working on the, is that better? There you go. Fire department had been working on the burn permit issue. We knew it's been getting hotter and drier. The first decision was made that after March 1st, we were going to cancel all burn permits. Since then, we've got an update. Our fire weather, of course, getting hotter and drier. I think we all realize that and understand that. Because of two fires that's happened in the Gila, one up in Reserve and one near Bear Mountain over the last weekend, they elevated our status from moderate to high. So now we're going to, effective immediately, the fire department's going to be canceling all burn permits. If they're already out there, when those folks call in saying they're going to burn, they'll be notified then that the burning has come to a stop. That's all we've got.
Thank you. Judge Ruiz, did you want to give any reports? So we'll move on down to the new business. First item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of special dispenser permit application for the Hunting Heritage Banquet on March 29th, 2014, from 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Grant County Veterans Memorial Business and Conference Center at 3031 Highway 180 East, Silver City, New Mexico. Sponsored by the Gila Gobblers, liquor license holder Buffalo Bar LLC, liquor license number 0361 at 211 North Bullard, Silver City, New Mexico. Mr. Phil?
My name is Don Fell. I'm the president of the Gila Gobblers chapter of the National Wild Turkey Federation here in Silver City. And I want to thank Mayor Marshall and the city council and Mr. Brown and our community for coming out to help us out on this. The Gila Gobblers chapter of the Turkey Federation is asking permission to use the services of the Buffalo Bar and their liquor license to serve alcohol on our 11th annual Hunting Heritage Banquet, March 29th, at our conference center here in Silver City. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our annual banquet includes some live auctions, some silent auctions, games for everyone that shows, all different kinds. We have dinner also catered for us. We raise funds for the national organization, which is in Edgefield, South Carolina. And funds are then distributed back to our state chapter, which is now in Roswell, New Mexico, where we have our new state president. And then from there, it's given, we go to those chapters, our state chapter, to be able to get money donated to do work projects with our Gila National Forest, BLM, whoever else we can get to coincide with us to do work projects. And right now, that's all we're asking for, is just to be able to use the Buffalo Bar to help us out with our banquet this year. And really appreciate it if you would consider this request. And I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't run off yet, because I think they're going to have some questions. Councilor Besson?
Mr. Phil, I have a couple questions for you. The games that you mentioned, are those games of chance?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe that there might be an issue with alcohol and gaming because games of chance can't be done with alcohol being served in the same area.
Well, we're going to serve the alcohol will be in the kitchen area of the conference center that's away from, we have the big room as you walk in to the left, and then the kitchen is on the right-hand side behind the walls there.
Okay, so that was my next question, because the map right now shows an area that's all in yellow. It says Buffalo Bar, but the whole area is in yellow from the front entrance all the way through the common break room to the patio, and then there's the rear hall that's in purple. And so it's not delineated to, except for where it says Buffalo Bar with the common break room, to say that the alcohol is going to remain only in that common break room and the patio area and not go into the area where the other...
Right, that's where we're going to have it, because this is the first time I've done this, and that's the information I've been getting from the people I've talked to, that it needs to be, make sure that it's separated.
So it might need to be clarified on this map that it's going to be separated more than the way it shows currently, because that was how, I was going to ask you where the stations were for the security and ID checks, and if there was going to be alcohol throughout the yellow area or only in the area that states Buffalo Bar on it.
Well, that's what we need to find. I don't know if Mr. Sam's Trujillo's here or tonight or not. Oh, there he is, okay.
You can testify to clear up the map,
Yeah.
and if you'll state exactly where the alcohol will be permitted, where it will not be permitted, then that goes into the record, and that is what we consider for the approval or disapproval, and then you can do that. or
Okay, because I've talked to
Mr.
him about this also, and like I said, this is a first-time thing for us for doing this, but it will be, you know, I've talked to some of my committee members that helped me with this project, excuse me, and we would like to go ahead and separate it to make sure that we have, you know, we're in the same page that y'all are. We don't want to do anything different or wrong. We want to make sure we do it right.
So the only place that you will be allowing alcohol will be the Buffalo Bar area that's marked under common break room and the patio
Yes, yes, sir, we'll have to do that, yes, because we want to make sure, like I said, we do it right.
and there will be security at the two entrances to
He
that.
has security and, I guess bouncers, and he has servers, and he has it all down. I just delivered that today to the,
That's fine, so the security will be at those two entrances, as the mayor just stated. There's two entrances to that area.
right, there's
And
one
that's-
down the hallway to the right if you're coming from the east, I guess, of the building. And then there's one that's to the right there where where there's an ice machine and it goes into the sink area and stuff right there. There'll be one right there also. And, you know, we've done this once before at the other locations long ago with the Flame, and everybody knows it's, and we announce it through the night, you know, 21 and older, no kids in the area, you know. So, we may have to watch a few kids off and on, but we'll take care of that. We'll do that, because that's what we're for.
You need some more. I would prefer to be right there where we were the times before. It's a lot easier for us to handle, and I think you agree to that, don't you?
Well, the only thing now that I've been talking to my committee members, see, we've got older adults and we're gonna have kids there too, though, see?
Yeah.
Because this is a family-oriented organization,
Yeah.
it's not just...
Well, I would prefer to be right where we were the other times. It's a lot easier. There's no kids going there. We have security checking IDs and everything, and coming out too, that everything's working right. So,
That is fine. Just for the record, we're going to leave it as it's been done before, where alcohol and over 21 is beyond the two entrances.
a diagram of the area there? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had.
We do, Sam, but it's all colored yellow, so it doesn't, the whole area is colored yellow, so it doesn't delineate for us where you're serving alcohol and where you're not by color. It's,
Oh, okay.
Sounds like a different
Yeah.
map, so...
Yeah, it's well, usually I said that you wanted it, you know, right in the area where you were having it.
There it is.
This is what, the whole thing's yellow, and what you're saying is this is where you're gonna serve, right here.
Well, I think Dennis did that when he talked to him, that they wanted it alcohol there,
Yeah,
but
like
I
I
would
said,
prefer to be
That's
just there.
That's where we're gonna do it. That's what I
Okay.
told them a while ago, to
Okay.
do it in the commons,
break room.
and the patio area, yes.
okay.
Yeah, that's where I told them to do it.
Okay,
It's just
I
that
guess-
thing's all yellow, though, that's what threw them a curve, so.
yeah.
Any other questions, Counselor? Any other questions? Anybody in the audience want to comment on this request? So just for the record, the permit that you've requested, special dispenser permit, is for alcohol service in the common break room area and patio area as marked on the map that we've been given. And it would be helpful if you'd give us a map that is only colored in the area that you're wanting to serve alcohol. But for the record, that's where we will be considering. And with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a special dispenser permit application for the Hunting Heritage Banquet on March 29th, 2014, from 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Grand County Veterans Memorial Business and Conference Center, 3031 Highway 180 East, Silver City, New Mexico, sponsored by the Gila Gobblers, liquor license holder Buffalo Bar LLC, liquor license number 0361-211 North Fuller, Silver City, New Mexico, as they have done in the past by giving us in the common break room and the patio.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir.
There's a motion and a second to approve a special dispenser permit application for the Hunting Heritage Banquet on March 29, 2014, from 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Grant County Veterans Memorial Business and Conference Center at 3031 Highway 180 East, Silver City, New Mexico, sponsored by the Gila Gobblers, liquor license holder Buffalo Bar LLC, liquor license number 0361 at 211 North Pollard Street, Silver City, New Mexico, with the understanding that it's in the common break area and patio only. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of resolution number 2014-08, supporting an application for the New Mexico Department of Transportation Municipal Arterial Program, also known as MAP funding, for Phase 2 of the street and drainage improvements on College Avenue. Mr. Peña.
Mayor, Council, as you discussed, this resolution is supporting an application for MAP funding to the New Mexico Department of Transportation. What we're hoping to do is a second phase on College Avenue. The first phase, we finished at Cooper. We'd like to take the second phase and go from Cooper west to B Street. Part of those improvements will be new paving, sidewalks, curb and gutter, drainage improvements, signage, striping. We're hoping to submit our application in by March 15th, and this resolution is part of that packet.
Anybody in the audience like to comment on this resolution? Seeing none, council?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Cook.
I move to approve resolution number 2014-08, supporting an application for the New Mexico Department of Transportation Municipal Arterial Program funding for Phase 2 of the street and drainage improvements on College Avenue.
Mr. Mayor, I second the motion as stated.
There's a motion, a second to approve resolution 2014-08. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Morose.
just a quick question. Is there going to be matching funds? Did you?
Yes, it's 75-25. Approximately, we're looking at about $125,000 in match, where the total construction cost is $500,000.
And that looks like it's going to be well within budget?
Yes, these are going to be included within next year's budget.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? There's a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2014-08, supporting an application for the New Mexico Department of Transportation Municipal Arterial MAP funding for Phase 2 of the street and drainage improvement on College Avenue. Roll call, please.
Councilor Madison?
Aye.
Councilor Cook?
Aye.
Councilor Dunning?
Aye.
Councilor Morales?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.
Peter. The next item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of resolution number 2014-09, a resolution for the intent to use appropriate and available town resources to improve prevention and response to wildland fire risk. As we're all aware, in the past years, not only the risk to wildfire, but the actual exposure to wildfire has definitely increased in our area. The Southwest New Mexico climate, which is in Climate Division 4, is predicted to have hotter, drier through year 2050 and beyond, with increasing risk of wildfire. The town has a obligation to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. The town has adopted and referenced the the need for improving our wildfire prevention and preparedness in the past. The successful preparation for the increasing risk of wildfire is dependent on a well-informed public acting as a full partner and providing motivated volunteers for individuals and collective protection and preparedness. So on the therefores, we're asking that the town prepare and present to the council its opinion and recommendation regarding the potential adoption in whole or part of the 2012 International Wildland Urban Interface Code, or recommend other options to decrease our risk to wildfire. That the town council be informed on the capabilities of our fire department based on NFPA 1710 standard for the organization and deployment of fire suppression operations, ... And the report should include specific information on future staffing demands, options for staffing, and equipment needs minimally for the next 5 years. And that the town council strongly encourage the public and staff to attend the March 7th and 8th, 2004 Preparedness Symposium to be held at the Global Resource Center at WNMU, and to implement, as appropriate, the recommended wildfire prevention measures as presented by various panels of experts. And that available and appropriate private and public resources need to be utilized to implement strategies, policies, procedures to improve prevention and response capabilities of the fire department and our residents. And basically, I think Assistant Chief Heydrich will talk a little bit about the Community Wildfire Protection Plan that's being developed. I mean, we all saw the effects of the Quail Ridge fire a couple of years ago when it raced through just south of town. We've been in meeting after meeting where the State Forestry, the Forest Service have all spoken of the fires that we're seeing and the fire behavior that is off the charts, never been documented before. It's truly in a critical phase where the town as a whole, the residents of the areas surrounding the town and in Grant County must take action. You have to put in defensible space around your homes. You need to make sure that what you're doing outside is not increasing the risk of starting a wildfire. Take all the mitigation measures that you can. It's pretty much a time bomb out there. We had good monsoons. The grass grew up nice and tall and green, and then promptly dried out and has just become fuel. So what I'm basically asking is the town take a proactive step in assessing, make sure that our fire department is capable, has capacity to respond to these fires and appropriately manage them, as well as the equipment to do so. And encourage the public to attend the Preparedness Symposium that's being held next month. It's really important that we have an informed citizenry so that we can all take an appropriate response. Assistant Chief Heydrich, would you like to?
Mr. Mayor, as you mentioned, we had been working on the Community Wildfire Protection Plan. This plan came about almost a year ago when we attended a conference in Taos, and Nick Cicillo had started really coming together as the Office of Sustainability and spearheading this project. Since then, we've gotten a lot of what we call the core team together. It involves the town of Silver City, Grant County, of course Nick. Also, we got the Forest Service on board, the State Forestry, and BLM, because those are the other lands right around us. We did have a second core meeting just today. We all sat down. One of the major things that we're trying to do right now is, we look back and we sit at this map and we look and we say, there's 14 areas of concern around Silver City and our ETZ. Those are areas that, by experience, we've identified that we've had problems in the past. We've had a lot of fires in this area. Or we're starting to see new development in areas where there hasn't been developed before. So you're starting to get those homes out there, people out there. They're becoming part of our interface. and what are we doing to help them kind of protect themselves. Part of this plan here today, we sat down and we looked at these areas. What we've really come up with is we have a lot of light flashy fuels in our area. A lot of our fires are grass fires. We don't get the big running crown fires that we may see like in Ruidoso, California, that's up in the tall pine trees. We're being really reactive to a lot of light, flashy fuel fires that are wind-driven. And because of those areas, we're running across, part of this plan is to go into these areas and say, what can we do to reduce the fuel in these areas? So if there is a start, the fire department literally has time to get to it before it gets out of hand. One of the areas that we've decided to really focus on is the Wind Canyon area. The Wind Canyon poses several different issues. Its location relative to the prevailing winds coming from the southwest. The way the canyons are there, the winds blow right up the canyons. All the homes are in the ridge tops of all those canyons. The slopes, ridges align with the winds. They have medium to heavy vegetation. Again, it's these grasses you're talking about, these light, flashy fuels that once the wind gets behind the fire, it's gone. And we're in a game of trying to catch it at that point. We did go out a couple weeks ago. We went around Wind Canyon, looking at areas, taking a lot of pictures. Nextel has put together a presentation that we presented to the core team meeting about really what we're facing. We started with Wind Canyon because it's an area that we can work together, municipality and the county. The county has a community wildfire protection plan that was established in 2009. They are in the process of updating their plan. We're in the process of building a plan for the town of Silver City and ETZ. The plans, they really need, the reason we're working together is they need to be hand in hand. You know, the county doesn't need to be over here saying, well, we're going to treat these fuels one way, and the city saying we're going to treat the fuels another way. We got to work together to do it. And that's where we got the rest of our core team members in there, State Forestry to assist us, the Forest Service, and BLM. Nick brought out this map here. We can leave it here. You guys can look at it later date. The red areas that you see that he's written down there are some of the areas that we've had fires in the past, a lot of potential for fire, or they're high-risk areas with property loss, people, a lot well-populated areas. Right now, we're in the very beginning stages of developing this plan. We were at one point trying to do an umbrella plan that would cover the whole city and ETZ, and I think after today's meeting, and saying that we're focusing kind of in the Wind Canyon as a starting point, because really we just needed a starting point, and we can sit down, look at what treatments we would recommend in that area, whether it's widening roads for access or egress, reducing vegetation in that area, mowing grasses, cutting grasses, putting in a lot of the breaks around the defensible space around homes that Ms. Anderson talked about earlier with gravel driveways, concrete, non-flammable building materials. But with your resolution, looking more into the ICC codes, it may give us another avenue to go through, and not to go right into setting codes, but they may give us ideas of how to target more of the education and making the public more aware of what they can do to protect their own houses. You know, it's hard to say that we can go in there as a municipality and just say, oh, we're going to make your place better. In reality, it's your place. It's, you know, I can't tell you to mow down your tree. It's got to be your idea to trim it up, make it look good, so it'll keep these fires from spreading quickly. But that's where we are right now. It's very beginning stages. We do have a rough draft developed that was given out to the core team today, and it's really just kind of question and answers right now. Nick can elaborate a little bit more on that draft, but you guys have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak on this resolution? Come on up, Kat.
Thank you very much for allowing me a second bite at the apple, Mr. Mayor. There are a couple of realities here that I think that are going by unstated that have to be pointed out, and it's probably better for someone like me to say this than it is for someone from the fire department. The first is that as firefighters, they cannot put their lives on the line to save our homes. It's just not possible. Every firefighter that looks at a fire has to make a calculated risk and decide whether to put his life, her life, or all the others on the team out there. We lost a very large number of firefighters last year compared to other past years, and I think we need to understand that they make a calculated risk. If our homes are not defensible, it's going to burn. It's going to be led to burn because we cannot allow more of our special people to die. The second point of all of this is that we all really have to walk our talk. And that's a very difficult one for me to say. For the almost 8 years now that I have lived in this community, I have been cutting brush, limbing up trees, removing bear grass and other flammables from not only my property, but the two neighbors' properties surrounding me, including 4 acres on one neighbor's property who believes that you use dead branches to delineate the boundaries of one's property so one never drives a tire from a vehicle onto his property. We have to change the way that we're thinking, and we have to walk our talk. Thank you very much.
Anybody else in the audience? Sissy?
Right after the Quail Ridge fire, we actually had some chats with the county, and I hope that we can also look forward when we talk about Ruidoso and Lincoln County, and eventually get to where we're looking at the building materials as well, so that we're encouraging or actually setting code to, or using non-flammable materials. When we get people in from out of town, I mean, even metal roofs, we think those are great. You get somebody in from Alaska, and they look at that as an oven, because it's just basically going to transfer the heat to the inside. So I think we need to make sure we're stopping the fires, but then we really need to look in the long run at non-flammable construction methods as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Thank you, Mayor, councilors, town manager. Having left the town and become an old guy in a retired sense, I decided to keep myself off the street to some extent by working with some of our firefighters and to work on a wildfire protection plan that the town manager approved last spring. And we've made some pretty good progress. It is personally very exciting to me to see the resolution come forward where we have, in fact, a unique opportunity. I'm not sure any of us could have conceived that, in fact, we could have created an agreement with the county to work not only on a wildfire protection plan for the town, but for the ETZ. And that was a response from the commission chair to you, Mayor, at your request. And he then put the county FMO in working order with myself and Assistant Chief Heinrich. And that kind of cooperation at those levels is not only important, but kind of represents a new opportunity. We have obviously, and I couldn't state it better than you did, Mr. Mayor, but we have evolved to an environment which is a clear and present danger, if there ever was one. I can't, out of good conscience, quote anybody, but I've obviously talked to, in the last year, a number of firefighters and people who are in the know. And there is a real concern expressed by the Gila National Forest press release just yesterday that a major catastrophe could happen this year. And that was voiced by Gabe Holkeen of the Forest Service staff. I don't know whether he's still the FMO, but he's a senior guy. And he simply says what to many of us is the obvious. Given the increasing warming, winds, high grass, and human behavior, he's concerned that we will have a catastrophic fire event this year. Many of the folks also will say, who had the experience in the rank, if you will, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of, it's not a matter of when, it's going to happen. And so it's just a matter of time. So we can either wait for that time, or we can choose to act now, as you said earlier, to be proactive. What's involved is a major change in perspective. And I normally don't want to add too much to what has already been well said, but what needs to be said is, as a former employee of the town, the bureaucracy itself and the towers that we have, and it's not just this town, it's across the country, any bureaucracy has vested interest in silos. And to get something done, you normally have to become unpopular, because to really do something large, you have to interact with your fellow silos, and that normally creates friction almost by definition. So what would have to happen to consider implementation of this ICC WUI code is, one major thing is the identification and documentation and the declaration by this body legislatively of the WUI areas. So there'd be a whole lot of discussion between the council and the town staff and the commission, because it has to dovetail with the ETZ. And I'm sure, as Mr. Scaverin knows, and as the town, and as you know, if that gets recorded, I assume the town and the county, as part of the ETZ, incurs a liability, because it's been legislated. We acknowledge these areas formally and put in the public record as high-risk areas with fire potential to life and property in this area. So there are issues of liability, there are issues of organization, there are staffing issues, there are financial issues, there are a whole bunch of things. I am hoping that we can address this as a unique opportunity and overcome those concerns. And those concerns are legitimate concerns. And unless we overcome them, it really is not going to matter too much. It's a long way of saying we have, real challenges in front of us. This is not an easy task that you have suggested that the town look at. But it's a valuable task, because lives and property are at stake, firefighter lives as well as our residents. Thanks for the initiative you've done with the resolution.
Thank you, Nick. Before I lose all my votes, I'm going to go to the council. Any comments on 2014-09? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor.
I move to approve resolution number 2014-09, a resolution for the intent to use appropriate and available town resources to improve prevention and response to wildland fire risk.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Is there any other discussion? There's a motion and a second to approve and no discussion on resolution number 2014-09, a resolution for the intent to use appropriate and available town resources to improve prevention and response to wildland fire risk. Roll call, please.
Councilor Benefit?
Aye.
Councilor Cook?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Morales?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of resolution number 2014-10, supporting an application to New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for the Phase 2 street and drainage improvements on Silver Street. Mr. Payne.
Mayor, once again, this is another resolution supporting another application for some funding through the Colonias Infrastructure Fund, which is through the New Mexico Finance Authority. What we'd like to do is we'd like to submit an application for street and drainage improvements on Silver Street from Pine Street south to Lamb. The project is approximately $500,000. This project does have a match, but we already have our matching funds. What we're going to do is, we already have our design about 75% complete, and we can use that money towards the match. This project will consist of new paving, reconstruction and construction of sidewalks, curb and gutter, striping and signage.
Thank you. Any comments from the audience on Resolution 2014-10? Seeing none, Council? Councilor Morales?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Took my questions away, so at that, I will move for approval of resolution number 2014-10, supporting an application to New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for the Phase 2 street and drainage improvements on Silver Street.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? There's a motion and a second, no discussion, to approve resolution number 2014-10, supporting an application to New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for the Phase 2 street and drainage improvements on Silver Street. Roll call, please.
Councilor Morales?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Cook?
Aye.
Councilor Madison?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Pierre. The next item on the agenda is approval or disapproval of resolution number 2014-11, supporting an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for wastewater treatment plant improvements. Mr. Esqueda.
Mayor and Council, what you have before you is another resolution supporting a second application to the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for wastewater treatment plant improvements. What we're looking to do is purchase and install a belt filter press. What this does is it is a mechanical device that allows for dewatering of sludge for when we have to waste from our digester. Currently, we have to send the sludge to drying beds and rely on the natural elements to dry the sludge, the wind, sunlight, what have you. During the winter time, in the late fall, through the winter and early spring, we have difficulties drying the sludge as temperature and what have you don't allow it. We have to spend considerable time maintaining the beds and turning them, what have you, just so we can promote the drying of the sludge. The mechanical dewatering device will also increase our capacity and allow us to waste on a daily basis from our digester. This will in turn allow us to make sure that we can manage the plant efficiently and make sure that we meet all of our discharge requirements.
Sounds like a really job. Sorry. It's my last meeting. I can say that, right?
That's what we're going to miss.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Seeing none, Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor.
I move to approve resolution number 2014-11, supporting an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for wastewater treatment plant improvements.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Is there any other discussion from the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Morales.
Going back to funding, this will work within the budget and our current rate structures and everything?
Yes, as you know, the ordinance for that sets the rate, the water and sewer rates, it has to be done, the resolution has to be done every year along with the budget. So we will get a decision on whether we will get these fundings even before we adopt next year's budget, so we can do any adjustments if necessary for that budget.
Yeah, and also we're anticipating about $400,000 for the purchase and installation of the belt filter press. So we're anticipating about a $40,000 match.
Councilor Cook.
Is it going to be powered by solar? Or methane?
Of course, it will run on electricity, and as well that we have installed the new solar facility to augment the power requirements of the wastewater treatment plant. So yes, it will require power, but in the same time, we are taking advantage of those lower rates being generated by the solar facility.
Any other comments? Hearing none. We have a motion, a second, no further comments to approve Resolution 2014-11, supporting an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for wastewater treatment plant improvements. Roll call, please.
Councilor Morones?
Aye.
Councilor Wright?
Aye.
Councilor Cook?
Aye.
Councilor Batson?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is appointment to the Museum Board. We have applicant Marguerite Flanagan. She's been reviewed by the chair of the Museum Board as well as Councilor Morones. I didn't think it'd be appropriate to appoint somebody in my last meeting and run. So we all concur that she is qualified and has great interest in the museum and is an appropriate applicant. So if there is no objection, I would appoint Marguerite Flanagan to the Museum Board. Hearing none, she's duly appointed and we'll notify her. And next is ceremony. The town manager will honor Mayor Marshall and Councilor Cook for their years of service. A reception will follow after the meeting adjournment. It's on the agenda, I gotta read it.
I was thinking you could go ahead and make your comments, and then I'll make the presentation to you guys, and then we'll allow the public to approach you guys.
Thank you. I don't typically do this, but I do actually have some prepared comments, thanks to Scott back there in the back corner. He asked me to speak at the chamber luncheon about a month or so ago. So I wanted to share some thoughts and reflection. I want to start with a couple of things that have truly guided my career and my life. One of them being the 4 agreements, and I hope you're familiar with them, but I'll read them because I can. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. A quote, try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. I've got more, but I can't read it. So in 2005, there was a decision was made when Mayor Fortenberry decided he wasn't going to run. I got approached and asked who could. And we thought about it for a long time and finally came to the conclusion, well, I could throw my name in there. What the heck? So I started a campaign. And started doing research, and I met with Alex, and I met with the town staff, I met with the council, I met with the existing mayor, the current mayor at the time, and, you know, it was very obvious at that time that the town was not broken. There's challenges, there was then, there are today, it's the nature of the business, things are changing. And we decided that moving forward was an appropriate campaign slogan. It wasn't coming in with a vendetta, with something specific that, you know, I just had to go in there and attack and fix, or people problems. We needed to move the town forward. And I had 2 opponents in that campaign, and I strongly encourage participation. I think that was probably the best election that I had. I had to participate in the forums. I had opposition. I had to actually state my vision and, at a minimum, demonstrate that I had some level of capacity to the public. I think competitive elections are the foundation for the system, and they should be encouraged. And if you go back to the 4 agreements, they don't have to be personal. They shouldn't be personal. Stick to the issues and solve problems. So, lo and behold, on first Tuesday of March of 2006, I got elected. I took office on April 1st, 2006. Yes, April Fool's Day. On about April 3rd, I was reading the town charter, and I discovered that I happen to now be the chief executive officer of the town. I might should have read the charter prior to that date. The challenges began and the opportunities came forth, and I made a decision right up front that I was not going to work, I was not going to function, conduct myself in a manner to support re-election, but rather do the job I was elected to do. If you do that, it is a job, and take it seriously. If you satisfy 51% of the people that vote, which is not very many, then you get re-elected. If you don't, then you're not the right guy. It doesn't have to be personal. It means they want somebody else. And I've tried for the last 8 years to stick to that path. The transparency, I think probably every reporter in the town is here tonight. There wasn't a single night that I went to bed and stayed up or lost sleep because I was afraid of what might show up in the paper. I've offered to show my email to reporters. I'll open my account and let them peruse it. We go above and beyond with the open meetings requirements and require all of our advisory boards to publish their agendas, publish their meetings, and that's important to me. And it's important that we ask the public to trust us. The level of trust in the government is so low right now, and having that transparency in this town, I think, makes all of our jobs so much easier. And it also makes for a more informed and trustworthy citizenry. Working as a paramedic for many, many years, I learned early in my career that it may not be an emergency to me, but the request was an emergency to someone. And that's important when we're working up here. Some of the things that we deal with are, we think you're sitting up here, we're just going to walk through them. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal to somebody. The town council comes with our own personal history, insight, wisdom, our baggage, and it may not be representative of the overall community. We may not be able to fully understand the position that you're in. And that's why we come to the meetings with an open mind, without making our decisions in advance, and listen to the public, listen to the testimony. We allow a lot of public input in our meetings, and it is absolutely not required by law or any kind of regulation, but it's important that we do. The council must make sure that everybody feels like they've been heard. And we've had people that had different levels of capacity, whether it was their handling of English or some other issue that made it difficult for them to present, or just plain fear in coming before the council for something that had to do with their property, with their business, with their family, with their inheritance. And I think it's important that through the formality they have to understand that we know their people, and we know this affects them as a person. And I've had the honor and the pleasure of serving with quite a few counselors, and with a few exceptions, I think we've done very well at that. I've served on the council with Judy Ward, Steve May, and Steve was here. I don't know if he still is. Stand up, Steve. Steve served this town as a mayor. He served for many years as a counselor, and we had some good times together. And Councilor Simon Wheaton-Smith, Gary Klaus, Michael Moronis, Cynthia Bettison, Jamie Thompson, Polly Cook, Thomas Knupp, and Jose Ray, last and certainly not least. So obviously One of my pet peeves is when people say, "I've worked for 8 years," or "I've worked forever." Well, okay, we can all work. I mean, we can dig holes, but did we do anything? So I sat down and I went through some of the history of the last 8 years and made a list, and some people that have looked at it have said it's quite incomplete. But some of the bigger things, the old Hillcrest Hospital, which was an eyesore, is gone. And most of the work was done prior to my election. The Penny Park had 2 fires. You know, that was so harmful to this community. This community built that park. The community was invested in it. The community spent thousands of hours of labor to build that park, and to see it burn and then to burn a second time was just a tragedy. And we also saw how the community can react and come together and support the rebuilding of the park. And I think right now we've got a great park. It's got great modern equipment. It's fun, it's friendly, it's educational, and I think we did really, really well building that park. And I know I spent a Saturday out at the Red Hot Children's Fiesta collecting surveys from kids and whoever wanted to contribute about what they wanted to see in the park. And I think we met most of it. The automated trash pickup was implemented. We made the sale of town land open and transparent. As many of you may not know, it's state law allows you to go in the proverbial back, dark, smoke-filled room and sell town property to whoever we so choose without an open and transparent process. And we stopped that in this town. We made sure that there is an open and transparent process. If it's a town asset, the town citizens own it, we're entrusted with it, and they need to know what we're doing with it. We have improved the relationship with WNMU. We now have a town and gown. I have worked very, very diligent with Dr. Counts and now Dr. Shepard. I think there's a relationship there now that had not been seen for as long as I can remember. One of the questions got asked in the first forum when I was running was, what are you going to do about the affordable housing shortage? And one of my opponents said, basically, I wish I knew. And one of them said, there's nothing we can do. And my response was, how about we finish the project we started? The town had started the Vista de Plata Affordable Housing Project prior to me coming, and today we've got homes, we've got families occupying them, and we're filling the needs for those families, and we'll continue to grow that project and support that. Through the town manager/finance director, his staff, the town council, the work of all of our staff and our contractors, the town acquired an A+ bond rating, and that was really an accomplishment. In 2006, when I got elected, was right before the recession hit. We saw it coming. We knew it was going to happen. We started responding immediately back in 2006, and when we went to get our bond rating, we were well prepared for financial stability in the town. The only thing that really compromised a higher rating was the fact that the state legislature controls our revenue. And we witnessed the dangers of that last year when they passed legislation to affect the hold harmless. And the governor has gone off and campaigned and continues for the 3 years she's been governor to say there will be no new taxes and tax increases in this state. I would like to clarify that what she means is there will be no new state increases in taxes. What she has done is pass all the tax increase burdens down to the local levels. So now the ordinances that increase your taxes have my name on them and not hers. And I think that's really, really important. This is, up until this year, The state legislature, everything was grabbing power, taking it away from local governments, taking away our control of our finances, and only this year did I hear hours and hours of testimony during the legislature where they actually realized we're probably better at managing it than they are. We've balanced our books. We've got clean audits. They haven't balanced the state checkbook in years. So this year, we finally heard them start getting up and testifying that they've got to protect local governments and our finances. As I just mentioned, the on-time and acceptable audits, that is so critical to the trust that is in the government here, and a great deal of that goes to Mr. Brown and his staff. It's one thing to get an audit, and the auditors walk in, they find a couple things that you got to fix. Every year when the auditor leaves, we meet with them, and they always say, the staff is prepared. And that gives a good sign for the auditor that we're not hiding nothing. Here's the files, go in there, do your job. And the auditors have always been pleased with our response. Obviously, by mandate, we balance the budget every year, and we've balanced the budget with thinking ahead. And some of where do we go from here? Obviously, we need to continue working on improving the streets, water, sewer system. We just heard lengthy talk about the fire situation. Obviously, that has a direct impact on our water system. The streets, we know the road tax is decreasing every year. It was a big topic in the legislature this year. We're going to have to eventually find new and alternative ways to fund our streets. Continue to adapt the public safety departments to ensure the current demands are effectively matched. I won't elaborate anymore. I think we pretty much beat that tonight. Continue to ensure that Silver City utilizes our unique resources to remain a leader in the state in innovation, creativity, and high-quality ethical government. Everyone complains about the government. Some things are difficult to understand. Silver City has multiple opportunities for citizen participation, volunteer for boards and commissions, and it's important. The list is published on the website, and you can thank me later. I'm going to say this at this point. Go look at the list. Volunteer to serve the town. You know, it's real easy to sit there at home and watch us on Cats, or read the newspaper, or wonder why something is going on or isn't going on in the town. Well, one way is you can sit up here and you can be responsible for what is or isn't going on in the town at any level, or you can volunteer on these boards and commissions and help advise us and give us direction and input. It's not that hard. Yes, P&Z is a commission. It is critically important. We need people to volunteer for it. There's people that have land rights that they need evaluated and protected, and permission to use their land in certain ways that may not be customary to that neighborhood. Well, it's really, really frustrating when you go through all the notification period and nobody shows up for your hearing, and you can't get a quorum to make a decision. I mean, there's a potential that we just truly ruin people's lives doing that. So please step up, volunteer for these boards and commissions. So some of the lessons: never forget that everything the town council works on will affect someone's life. It may be financial, preference, quality of life, or many ways we may not be able to dream of. It has high value to someone. And I think when the next council takes these seats, don't ever forget that. It's about people. Every spreadsheet that comes across your desk is about people. The numbers represent people, whether it's their jobs, their lives, their the taxes they pay, the bills that they pay, how high they are. We can't forget that. Treat every issue and every person with great concern for the value. Take care of the staff. They do the real work that truly matters to us all. And I've often said this, and I truly mean it. If the city council decided not to meet for the next 3 months, none of you would probably notice it. It probably would not affect your daily lives. But let the guys that are running the sewer plant, picking up the trash, fixing your streets, fixing the water lines when they break, let them not show up to work for 2 days. And we'll see where the crisis is in this town. So, when you see those guys out there working, when you see the guy picking up your trash, give them respect. Wave at them. Say hi. Don't interfere with them. They have a job that is amazing, and they do a great job. You know, I often have gone around and visited different departments, and I'll generally go and I'll ask the department heads, is there any area I need to stay away from? And there never is. They've never told me, you know, well, don't go tell so-and-so he's doing a great job because we're going to fire him tomorrow. It's never happened. They always say, help yourself. Go talk to him. I think that says a lot about our leadership, and it says a heck of a lot about the staff. Focus on issues that impact Silver City and are within the arena that the town council can implement and change. And I think that's really important. We can get drug into issues of state, federal nature. You can spend hours and days and weeks dealing with issues of federal nature that we just can't change. We can hate them. We can really like them, but it's just not our business. We have a charter. We have a mission. We have a job. And I think there's plenty of work for the town to focus on. And I could tell you, I don't know if he's still here, but Ski brought a resolution to me a while back on trapping. And on that mission of let's stick to what the town actually can affect, I kind of sent him on his way. And he came back to me and actually demonstrated the economic impact on tourism and the use of the Gila and what putting traps next to trails where people don't expect them and they can't see them and their dogs are getting caught in them, people can be caught in them. So we brought it back. So make sure that not only do we focus on what's specific to the town, but that we understand it. And it would have been easy for me to tell Ski or many others, just sorry, I'm just not interested, or I don't understand it, I don't see the effect. But I kept an open mind and I listened to him when he came back, and I think we benefited the town. And I am going to conclude real quick, but I want to thank Alex. Alex has a job that is extremely difficult. Not only is he the town manager, he's the finance director. He's grown up in this town. He's grown up in his employment here. He does an exceptional job. I have had people for years, you need to split the finance director, town manager. And after 8 years of watching this man work, no, we don't. If there was somebody else in that position that did not have his capacity, maybe we would. Not only is he truly a professional and an expert in what he does, the state looks at him. Everybody around the state is watching Alex. They call him. They want input from Alex. That is hugely important to Silver City. I have done it for years. I'll do it forever. I will protect Alex. It's that important to this town. If he screws up, I'll be the first one to tell him, too. Robert, we've become friends over the years, and it's really interesting to have a personal relationship with the town attorney and your eccentricities. I've grown to really value that friendship, and I also know, and you know, that the time that I've served here, I've done my job and you've done yours, and it hasn't always been pleasant from either one of us. But we always took care of business, and it's never been personal. I have learned so much. He used to have a balcony at his office. I'd go sit there on it, and we would talk for hours and hours. Some of you won't find that hard to believe. Gotcha, Robert. But the lessons that I learned, whether it was truly business or whether it was life, whether it was advice for my family, whether it was advice for the mayor's business, I learned so much, and I grew as a human by listening to Robert and communicating and taking that time. And I will forever value that. And Jim, he's our town prosecutor. We keep him very busy. I had some history with you in the past. It wasn't so pleasant. But I want to tell you, I do know that you do an excellent job, and it is valued. And we do appreciate the service that you do provide to the town. And it's so important. One of the biggest issues that we have is the enforcement of our ordinances. And we write thousands of citations, thousands and thousands of citations. And it's with Jim's expertise in the courtroom and counseling the parties that we've been able to resolve some of the situations and truly come to a level of compliance on some areas. We got a lot of work to do, but I think the town would be different without your service. And Ann, I'm just going up the line here now. Ann's the third town clerk, I believe, that I've worked with, and she's got the credentials now. She's an expert as a town clerk, and she's just a pleasure to work with. My job is so much easier because of your skill and expertise in what you do. And I honestly, truly, the group that I'm recognizing right now, from the town manager through the department heads, I would not have run for 4 terms had it not been for you guys. And it just would not have been possible in my life. So, thank you very much. The town employees and the other department heads, Peter Russell, you truly deserve some, I don't know if it's quite sainthood, but it's got to be close to it. The issues that you deal with are probably the most testy, because they go back to what I talked about earlier, was truly people's lives and their biggest investments that they'll ever make. And I remember when we did the ordinance on the sale of town land and sitting in Robert's office, and Robert and Alex and Peter and I truly appreciate the openness and the willingness that you communicated. And if that meeting had been recorded, we'd all been in the nut house probably at the end of it. But we just went at it, and there was no Mr. Mayor and Mr. this and Mr. that. We were all there to try to solve the problem. And we spent, I think it was like 6 or 8 hours sitting there going over this one ordinance, running scenario after scenario and yelling at each other. And we've run that ordinance a few times now, and it's held. And I think it's because of the skill that you bring to the table. I can always count on the fact that if Peter says it, it's in the code book. That's why he said it. When it's left up to interpretation or there's some vagueness in the code book, he'll tell us. And he'll generally bring some recommendations to resolve those issues. He has an ability to understand that book like nobody else. And thank you. It has been an honor to work with you. And Peter Pena and Robert, I don't work with you as much, but I know you both bring great skill to your jobs, and you're part of the group that has allowed me to continue to serve with Sanity, and I definitely appreciate it. And I know the disabled kids are going to appreciate it real soon, Mr. Pena, with the resource room that they're going to be provided. And I don't think you'll find those resources in other communities. And for those of you that don't know, we're installing a portable classroom that disabled kids and their families can go up on their time and use and do the therapies that they do in formal therapy sessions. We'll have a resource area that they can go up and do it between their sessions, and they can keep those therapies going and help those kids every day of the week. And that, I've been in meetings with the families over and over, and I mean, it's really heartbreaking to see how important this is to them. And just know that that's another project that the town's doing that touches people and some of the most vulnerable people in our society. So I'm going to wrap up, but if you listen to the quotes that I said at the beginning, that's my dad. I could not have appreciated those quotes if it wasn't how I was raised. And thank you. My mom couldn't be here tonight, but she's his partner, and she's responsible for, as well as him, for how I turned out. And if you saw me earlier smiling off over here to the right, there's another group. The little girl in the very back is my granddaughter, and the young man sitting here in the front is my grandson. And then my son and my wife. And my wife has been my biggest supporter and regulator, as well as my children, grandchildren, my mom, dad, my brother. Just thought you got more kids, didn't you, Dad? When I talk about my wife, it's also hard. She attended most of the meetings for the first several years that I was the mayor, and she wasn't able to continue because we had some grandkids living with us, and she had to take care of them. And she's always been there for me. When I say that she's my regulator, I just have to tell this story, because before I ran for office and got elected, we made a pact that if I became a politician, she was going to tell me to stop. I was not going to run for office and turn into the four-letter politician. And shortly after I got elected, within weeks, I lived up on the north side of town, up on the hill, and I had a deck, and I'm standing out in front of my deck, and she sticks her head out the door and says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm perusing my town." And she says, "Give me a break," and slammed the door. So when I walked back in, she's like, "Not already." So, thank you, Mary. She's been there with me on those hard times, the rough times, the emotional times, the highs and lows, and she's always left it up to me whether I continue to run or not, and I appreciate that. It truly did take her support, and my son sitting up here in the front, he also works with me in my day job, and my other son that's not able to be here tonight, when he found out tonight was my last meeting, he says, "Finally, can we go fishing together?" So we're going to go fishing together. But I know I left people out. The council that's sitting up here, Councilor May in the back there, there's just not a better bunch of people to work with and to serve with. The group is diverse, and I don't know how many of you remember, but Councilor Ray was appointed, and the person that held the office before him held it for, if we say 2 minutes, that's 2 minutes, it's about a minute and a half too long. And when it was done, he had resigned, the first person I called was Councilor Ray. This is a man of integrity. I know his mom sitting back here, Synovia. She's very responsible for our chapel, and it just comes from a great family. And I knew that when Councilor Ray took office that he would represent a sector in the community that needed represented, and I won't say it, Councilor May, but there was definitely a gap, and Councilor Ray has filled it, and filled it very well. Councilor Moronis is another longtime family of Grant County, and we don't always agree, but I can absolutely guarantee you, when this man speaks, he has thought about it, he's used a good process to come to his conclusions, and he's still not closed off. You can change his mind, you can convince him, because he will always listen until he needs to make a decision. And that is a trait that you absolutely have to sit up here. And his, obviously being a CPA, it never hurts to build trust in the council, and that we understand our finances, and besides that, he's a great father and a great citizen of the town, and the town has done exceptionally well in choosing the next mayor, Councilor Moronis. Councilor Bettison, I pick on her a lot. Some because she makes it easy. But the most recent thing, she's kind of claimed that I pull on her pigtails, because I'm like the little kid in school that just keeps poking at her or poking her with a pencil. And, you know, I do that because I like you and I enjoy you, Counselor. This is the detail side of the council that, I mean, if you can have a 40-page document and she'll find the missing comma in page 22. That's important. I mean, that's just one of the spaces that we fill. She sits on the municipal league board. She represents us well. She's represented us on the tax issues with the town at the municipal league level. So apparently she's well respected around the state as well, because that is an elected position that is statewide. So thank you, Councilor Bettison. It's been a pleasure. And Councilor Cook, I was hoping before this meeting that I'd figure out, or get you to figure out, it's Mr. Mayor, Counselor Cook, then you talk. Didn't quite work.
Should have told me.
But it's really interesting to watch Counselor Cook, because it's that passion that she can't wait to be recognized. She's going to talk or she's going to explode. And she's represented, the downtown district and the small business owners in this town, and she's done a very good job. And it's been a pleasure. And I know you've really taken away from your business to put in time here, and I really hope the town acknowledges that and acknowledges the service that you've provided and understands your decision to not. So with that, I'm going to conclude. Most of all, thank you, the citizens. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. I'm very humbled by being selected to be your mayor. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Counselor Cook, now that I got her all emotional.
Can't do that to me.
So, and then you want to take a break?
I already said in public comment.
Okay. She says she said enough, so Mr. Brown? You got it.
I think you're supposed to come down. I'm not going to do it.
First, we'll start with Councilor Cook. The town would like to present this plaque to you in appreciation for your years of service with the town of Silver City. We pay tribute to you in honor of Pauline Hesler Cook, Councilor District 2, from March 12, 2012 to March 10, 2014. I really appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you, Alex.
All the time. And to Mr. Mayor, in appreciation of your years of distinguished service and respected leadership of the town of Silver City, we pay tribute and honor to James R. Marshall, Mayor, from April 1st, 2006 to March 10th, 2014. Thank you for your unwavering dedication, honorable contributions, and your friendship from the town staff. We're really going to miss him. We're going to miss his quick wit, all his service. I am sort of gonna miss, but not really gonna miss those texts that I get that makes me cringe once in a while with some of these way ideas that sort of scare me sometimes. So we really appreciate you and your friendship. Thank you. And we also have a special gift for you. This is for the mayor. Thank you. And basically what it is, it's a gift from us, Mayor James R. Marshall, Town of Silver City, 2016-2014. What it is an engraved gavel with the Town of Silver City's city seal, his name, and then the years he served. And now if anybody would like to say something.
They're going to be happy I don't talk as much as my dad. I think it's been a long 8 years for the family. We all agreed when he decided to run for mayor that he would do it and we'd back him. And 2 years ago, we sat outside the office smoking a cigarette, and he said, "I'm not going to run this year." And I said, "Well, I think that's a good idea." Well, obviously, he did run. I think a few weeks later, we saw it in the newspaper that he was running again. So I called him. I said, "Hey, what's going on? I thought you said you weren't running." Well, had a change of heart. He's really worked hard for the city. He's been a great dad to me, my wife, my kids, my brothers, sisters. He's been pretty amazing. So, just want to thank you, Dad, and we love you.
Honorable Mayor, if you give me just one moment, I want to thank Polly for your contributions to our community. I was also born and raised in this community, and I know what it means to give back. So I want to thank you for your contributions. And Mike, I look forward to working with you, and just know that I'm here to assist you in whatever way I can. Mayor, I just wanted to come up here today and just really thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support that you've given me to be able to try to help the residents of this community. We know that trying to seek funding for these many projects that we have in the community is not an easy task. And we know that it takes commitment, dedication, we know it takes funds, but we also know that it takes teamwork, because we can't do that without one another to be able to move these projects forward. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of me personally, and for supporting me through all these different opportunities that we've had to improve the quality of life, and also on behalf of the Southwest New Mexico Council of Governments Board. You're very much appreciated, and of course it doesn't end here. For me, it's a long-term friendship, and I want to continue to have that friendship and serve you in whatever way that I can. Thank you.
Seriously, Mayor, Polly, James now, I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you two and also the council. We at the police department appreciate very much your support that you've given us. Polly, our conversations pre-council and our conversations post-council, we won't get into, but I appreciate it. We had some conversations prior to you being council, and it was just a learning process for both of us, and I appreciate your friendship and your support. I really do. Mayor, it's been a long haul. I appreciate everything that you've done for us. Your wisdom, your guidance, and your friendship. And that friendship will always be there. Anytime you need anything, you just call, sit down and have a cup of coffee. But I appreciate everything that you've done for us and for the city. Thank you.
Remember, if it gets too carried away, I do have the mute button still.
Well, first of all, Polly, I just want to thank you for always being a smiling face out on the street. Your corner has a special touch to it. I know sometimes when you connect with me, I'm going to have a few minutes of listening to some unique perspectives of our community, and I appreciate that. And I think all the chickens in town want to thank you for your hard work. And Mayor, I just want to say, I knew you up at the hospital before. I know you come with a real good sense of planning, programming, implementation. You've got a real holistic approach to life. I think one of the greatest things is you are a wonderful human being. I think you overlooked everything you did with the Climate Committee. I mean, that was literally sticking your neck out. I think one of the favorite quotes I ever heard from you is when somebody went and started, I think you were getting quite a few phone calls, and people saying, what's the problem? Are you green? And your response was, yes, I'm saving the town money. I'm green. And I think that's, you always think things through. You have a wonderful ability to communicate with people. You talk in layman's terms. You listen. It's going to be wonderful to let you relax a bit. But I know you're going to continue to do great work here, and I think more than anything, I've just really watched you build a community, and I want to thank you for all of that. Thank you very much.
Councilor Polly, I'd like to address you first. And she mentioned the chickens, I didn't. But it's been a pleasure knowing you. And if we could borrow your energy, it would be a tremendous deal for us. And for you, Mr. Mayor, I was fortunate enough to meet you as a court clerk when I was working with the courts. So I got to work alongside you and also as an employee. That time was valuable to me. I can clearly recall a time when the court really didn't like to come before the council. It was difficult, and it was a strained relationship. And what I'd like to thank you for is you took that away from that issue, that stress that the courts had. You treated us with dignity and respect, and you were always a positive person that we could come to. So it's much better. We don't have to agree on everything, but we treat each other well, and I'm thankful for you. I know you were part of that. And I wish you well in all that you do, and I know that we're going to see you lots because you're not done giving. But thank you again. Your work is much appreciated.
I do not want to see you a lot.
I think I'll speak from down here. Polly, I'll address you first. I used to be afraid of you, and I am no longer afraid of you.
I've never been afraid.
Before, when you were elected, the only story I heard about you was that you would chase people down the street with a baseball bat if you didn't like them. So apparently that was just a rumor, and I appreciate the work that you've done on the council. I appreciate your honesty and your integrity, and I think the town is better for your service. And thank you. Mr. Mayor, Alex has limited me to only an hour and a half to talk about our 8 years together.
Did he tell you you should have recorded this before?
No, he didn't, actually. As an attorney, you don't always get to choose your clients. And when you do get a client, you always hope that your client is honorable and honest and looks for integrity and justice. And you have fit that, and you've made it a pleasure for me to be the town's attorney. Your integrity, your insistence on transparency of government, your honoring the people of this town by the nature of your service has been exemplary. I think that you are the role model for any public servant right up to the White House. As far as your subtleties that usually I was the only one to get, I think that at the end everybody realized that you were incredibly intelligent, incredibly mindful of being respectful. I recall on many occasions you just pleading to the public of this town for civility, for mutual respect. It's been an honor to work with you. I look forward to our continuing relationship. And just one point is that you talk about friendship, and we used to have lots of wonderful conversations about friendship. And I think for these 8 years, you've been this town's best friend.
And if I need to see Judge Ruiz a lot, I may be calling you. Thank you, everybody.
Polly, thank you for the coffee all these years, and your your balance between friendship and running a business, not an easy task. And as many people have said here, I certainly share that in terms of appreciating your stepping forward at some risk to the business in terms of the time that you put aside. So thank you for that. And Mr. Mayor, I have to go back to Sissy's comment about the Climate Committee. And I remember when I was writing part of the sustainability plan, and it was the acknowledgement section, which was very important because we had a ton of incredible and talented people who contributed. And the Mayor's Climate Committee, and I think you actually had remarked on it when we brought it before the council in November. But what came up for me was the committee was what made everything possible. And you made the committee possible. And your persistence and your commitment to taking what was apparently your only negative vote of the council in 8 years, which is by itself a pretty phenomenal statistic, but to bring that back and have the council support you, have grants written, have staff hired with roughly $50,000 to work with, so we could bring what we've done to the town to in fact help implement your being green and saving money, which came to fruition. And that would not have happened without you. And as a direct benefit of that, I would like to say a personal thank you for all that you've done.
I got to say is I'm very proud of my son. Even though I didn't vote for you.
So, he lives in Hurley, but I think if he lived in Silver, he still wouldn't have. I think the response I got from my parents was, "Are you crazy? Why in the world would you do this to yourself?" So, thanks, Dad. Love you. And, go ahead.
Now keep talking, Mr. Mayor.
No, I'm gonna
I
end
don't get
it.
to hear you much longer.
Everybody's heard enough of me.
Mr. Mayor, we have a problem at this end.
Yes, I know.
We need to take a break. Or we will adjourn this meeting.
So I think we can adjourn to the back if you want to join us, and we'll have a little social time after some pit stops. And that is another lesson that I learned that I didn't put in my list, was never ask a woman if it's urgent. Did that once. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and thank everybody.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn this meeting. I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
We'll be right back.